Hello. All right, we're going to try this again. I am so sorry. I don't know why Instagram does that to me sometimes, but it does. Is that Mountain Dew really already? See, and I'm not getting any notifications that people are joining. Like, my little number at the top is going, but I can't see any comments at all. Awesome. I hate when this happens. Yep. I'm not getting any comments or anything. Cool. Whoa. Oh. Okay. There it goes. Wow. Okay. Cool. Okay, that worked. Wow. All right. That'll be a really fun introduction for people to see on YouTube. Okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry. All right. So let me just really quickly repeat my introduction. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's pre-recorded video from Thursday, May 28th, 2020, from 2:15 to 3:15. Okay. All right. Cool. Awesome. I'm so sorry. Thank you guys so much. We had an Instagram glitch and I couldn't see anyone's comments and blah, 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 blah. So, all right. So, anyway, so let's get back to, we're talking needles, and this is part 2 of Steph's favorite cross-stitch tools, notions, things. What else did I say that was important at the beginning? I mean, yeah, I don't know what happened. But I do want to mention that something I mentioned in my other thing was that this is my notions bag. This is what So Much to Love calls it a sidekick bag. And this is my go bag. So all the things that I use all the time, like when I go places, I put in here. So I will fill this as the series continues. So then by the end of the series, you can see what is in here. Yay. Okay, awesome. And I really hope that I don't have any more Instagram problems today. That would be great. Okay, so we were talking needle minders. So yesterday we did like Q snaps and project bags and those things. So if you want information on any of those things, then I recommend watching part 1. So today is needles and all things around needles. So what I was saying before was that this is a needle minder, and okay, one thing I do want to say that I said before that I want to make sure people know. I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence. I promise. I'm really not. And I'm not trying to come from a place of like, hi, I'm Steph and just keep stitching and I know all these things about cross stitch that you don't. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. I want to be informative and I want to be all encompassing, and I don't want to assume that people know all the things. I don't, because I was very, very lucky when I first started stitching in that I had Pam. So I could ask her all the questions. So I know that there are people that don't have Pams, don't have people, whatever, that they can, ask questions to. So, again, I don't want to insult your intelligence, but, Kia, you're so funny. So this is my first needle minder. This is, it says, Kibby. And obviously I got it from my best friend, Kia. Kia's mom, I think, actually made it, but anyway. So the last little thing I was saying before Instagram decided to be ridiculous is, that silver, magneted needle minders are where it's at. They're stronger, I find, than the black magnets as well. And also they don't leave any sort of crud on your fabric. Pam and I have both had instances where that has happened. So, and it's a real bummer because we couldn't get it out. So the traditional sense that a needle minder is used, so there's always two sides, two magnets. This is my project. So, and it's really cloudy, so we have I almost just said a sky roof, a sunlight right up there, so if I get dark, it's because the cloud went over. So I'm sorry that the lighting isn't ideal, but it is what it is. Okay, so, take needle minder in two pieces, right? So, you obviously want the pretty decorated part on the front of your cross stitch, and then you take the back part, and it magnets to it. Now, people are like, I don't want it to smoosh my stitching. It's not going to smoosh your stitching any more than a Q-snap clamp would. And they get, like, fluffed back up when you iron. So, these are here for you to be able to, I'm getting a needle. Okay, so, needles, magnet, boom. So, they're great for that. I don't know about you, but I'm still, if you're a needle minder person and you use them, and I still poke my needle in my fabric. I still lose as many dang needles as I would without a freaking needle minder. So, but that's what the purpose of a needle minder is. I think that's great. No problem. My own personal stitchy setup is a little bit different than maybe yours at home, and I understand fully that everyone's setup is different. That's a given. But but here's the thing. So I have a chaise lounge, or a sit and stitch, and I do not put my feet up on the chaise lounge. I kind of use that as like a workspace, if you will. So, or like, think of it as like a big footrest version of like a painter's palette. So, for me, what I do to save time and whatever is I will have my colors of my project laid out, and then, like, so, for example, when I was doing the rainbow, I went, and it's obviously, like, I did the purple first, and then the, blue, and then the green, then the yellow, but so I did this section first. I didn't carry it over. I just did this section, and I did this section. So, on my, like, chaise lounge, I had those five colors, the skeins, laid out, and then I had 5 needles, all threaded, so then I could just pick them up. Easy peasy. So, what I have also in my setup as well, and this is another sort of recommendation. I do want to say that Tony said that she attaches her working copy of the chart either folded up or cut into sections, and she said she's been doing that for 10 to 15 years. So what she means is, like, pretend that's a chart. Save your 2 sides. And then yeah. We're pretending this is a chart. Not just a piece of notebook paper. So yeah, and I've done that before too. So, and I have a freaking chart clip. So, it's all about what works best for you and the project that you're working on, for sure. Yeah, and I am a thread licker, so therefore I think that it's just faster for me to have multiple threaded needles. Just because. And so on my chaise lounge as well, I have this And this was one of those things that I had seen before, never got it. Now, I don't know what I would do without it. And this is a needle case. So Melissa, Cupcake Stitcher, she made all of us these that are in the Whistle Stop crew. And inside is a little line piece of paper. I don't know exactly where she got these, but I know that the bottom is magnetized. And then inside I keep a needle minder. This was actually one of the very first needle minders I ever got. And I keep it in here. And then I have, as you can probably see, a ton of needles in there for easy access. And this sits open like this on my stitchy spot. Whether that's at home, whether that's at keepsakes, whether that's at someone's house, wherever, at a retreat, doesn't matter. This is always sitting open like this. And I don't know if you can see. So obviously one is higher than the other. One side is higher than the other. So I put a needle minder on the back to level it out. And so this is where, so I'll stick my needles on here as opposed to on my needle minder. Because that's just what I do. I don't know why, but I find that to be incredibly handy. I think that you can find these needle cases. We don't sell them at keepsakes, but they come in a lot of different forms and fashions. So, I mean, you could find like Pam has even a pin cushion would work the same way, right? So, but this just is what's worked for me. And this way, I can, when I am packing my chaise lounge to go to somewhere where I'm going to be stitching, and it already has a needle minder on it, boom, goes right in the box. It's great. And then I like the bottle cap ones. I mean, not only do I like this needle minder because Kia, but I like the bottle cap ones because they're ridged. So you can literally set your different needles in the ridges, which is something that I do. So, I also use them inside my floss boxes to hold needles already with the color for that box portion. Hold needles on both sides for the spaces. Awesome. Okay. So, and there are fabulous people out there that sell needle minders, that make needle minders. If you just go into Etsy and type in needle minder, so many for every fashion that you could want. And they are not, we made, I think it was like 75 of them we made when we went to the Netherlands of the shape of Ohio. And they're really fun to make if you know what you're doing. So Violet Blue says, I have always only allowed myself one and only one needle. That way I have to keep track of it. How do you keep your cats away from your thread? My cats just have never really been attracted to it. I don't know why. I'm bless them for not being interested in it. They've never been one to get into our stitchy stuff or, run around with thread. I mean, there's been maybe, I can count on one hand the few times that one of my cats has run around the room with a skein of floss. And I know that I'm lucky because of that. They'll sit on a project bag. If I leave a project bag out, they'll sit on it. But that's all they're doing is sitting on it. I mean, so I wish I had a tip or trick for you to help you, but my cats just don't do it. They just don't get into it. I don't know why, but I'm glad that they don't. So yeah. So there you go. Okay. So I talked about my needle case. All right. So then also another thing that's super handy, so I have obviously the needle case, right? This is a needle tube. This is made by, I don't know if you can see that, but it says Dritz. This is a Dritz needle tube. Now, the reason that I like said Dritz needle tube is because, first of all, it's got a hot pink top. See that little silver thing at the bottom? That is a magnet. So, like, I have a ton of needles on here already, but I have more that I have. And then you're like, oh no, all your needles are going to fall out. No, they're not, because it's magnetized. So, and then it's awesome. And then you go like that, you pull them out. So, I like to keep, I had those 5 out for the 5 rainbow colors, but then, so I probably have maybe 7 or 8 needles in here, so probably, I think I might have a couple colors over there. So like 10, maybe, if that. And I am constantly breaking needles, because I pull too hard. And so, and so that's why I keep them extra. So, this is not something that I necessarily, if I'm going on a retreat, like for a few days, then I will put this in my go bag, but if I am just going for like one day or whatever, then I will leave this at home. This is not necessarily something I must take, because I know I have all of these. So, but if I'm going on a retreat, then I will for sure take that with me. Cool. Okay. And one question that I get a lot is, what brand? Hi, Pam. Hi, Steph. Pam went to get her teeth cleaned this morning. And she just got home, so I'm very excited to hear how her day was. Okay, so, people always ask me what, size and type, brand, whatever, needle I use. And I was taught to stitch with a size 26 John James Tapestry Petite. That was what I was taught with, and so that's what I used for a very long time. And then I wish I could remember exactly, but there was something that happened, and I ended up switching to a size 28, and I love them. I find a size 28 is great for, especially for like 40 count and 36 count. And so when it comes to size of needle across brand, the sizes are the same. Now, there are other brands of petites that I just have not tried. So that's the type of needle that I use. Now when I pick up like a regular, like a tapestry needle, it feels like a sword. It does. I've never used, so Frank Franklin says, I like the gold-plated John James. I've never tried the gold-plated ones, but I kind of want to. Just because they're gold-plated. And yeah, that's, Kathy, that's why I like the petites as well. So Kathy said, I love the JJ petites, John James. I can use the thread till there's just a little left. And that you get more of a turnaround because the needle is shorter. That's why they're called petites. You get more of a turnaround with your thread that way. So you're saving more thread. So yeah. So that is my highest recommendation of needle. I will say that one little tip that we've learned is that we've bought them in the 5 or 6 pack or whatever they come, in like the little packages that you don't get. Anyway. Oh, they're stronger. Someone said that, Franklin said they squeak a little at first, whatever, but they're stronger. Okay. I'm going to try it. Okay. So, I bought my needles in like the standard packaging or whatever, but then I've also purchased them in bulk before, and what both Pam and I have noticed is that when the needles that come from a bulk pack break easier. I don't know if it's just that batch of needles or what it is, but we're not going to buy them in bulk again because we've never had them break this much. So, and I always find them breaking at the eye. So yes, Linda, the eye of the needle is the size difference, and it's the same way of fabric. So if you have a 24, so basically the higher the number of size, the smaller the eye. So a size 28 needle has an eye that is smaller than a size 24 or 26. So there you go. So Rachel said, I tried gold needles and the gold finish eventually rubbed off, which made me nervous. Oh, that makes me nervous too. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? But she said, but they could have been cheap. Were they the gold needles like John James gold needles? And Bonnie asked, do you ever use ball tip needles? Thoughts? So I've tried ball tip needles before, yeah. My biggest thing with them, is that, okay, so when I am searching for a hole to stitch on, can you see my finger running through it? So I will drag my needle across like that to find the hole. And with a ball tip needle, and so when I'm doing that, sometimes the needle will poke through the wrong hole. And then I'm like, oh, I got about face, and bring my needle back down through the hole. And with the ball tip needle, it's like, I don't know, it's counterintuitive. I don't know. So yeah, so that's why I didn't like them. I don't have any really other complaint other than that. It's just not my jam really. Okay, sorry, I'm reading the comments. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. So anyway, now, I don't know what a stitch pop needle is. I think a stitchy pop needle is the ball tip needle, but I don't know either, so, sorry. And yes, so Christine said, I'm assuming you're talking about the ball tip needles, because I can't get under the threads on the back to end your threads. Yes, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. And Tracy said that, yes, a stitchy pop needle is the ball tip needles that we're talking about. And so like when I end a thread, I bury it under the threads in the back, and it's really hard to do that with a ball tip needle. So, I 100% am with you on that as well. So, I've also never used a Pat Carson needle, which I think is the same thing as a Pat Saver needle. I've never used those before either. I'm just really loyal to my John James, you know? Just really loyal to it. So, alright. So somebody asked, do I use a needle threader? 98% of the time, I do not use a needle threader. I am a thread licker, 100%. Well, literally, I just said 98% of the time, and then I said 100%. Wow, math. So, okay, do Pat Carson needles, do they come in petites? If they come in petites, then I'll try them. Okay. So, however, with a needle threader, Pam only uses a needle threader. Literally only. I don't know if she's always done that. Have you always been a thread? Were you ever a thread licker? No, she was not. Pam said no, she's never been a thread licker. So, however, she is very loyal to her particular brand of threader that I will share with you. Oh, that sucks that Pat Carson doesn't do petites. So, this is the brand and type of needle threader that Pam uses. I know it's backwards, so don't worry. It is a Lowrand, L-O. I'll type it in. Okay, so I just typed in the brand that it is. So I don't know if you can see this, but there are so there's two different ends to your needle threader. And see, two different ends. So wow, this is really hard to demonstrate. So on this first lip, you hang the needle, and then around this loop thing here, you'd put your thread, and then you just pull your needle through, and then your needle is threaded. Your needle is threaded. Let me go read these comments. Okay. They come in a 1 count. It also has the Dritz logo down here, so I'm not really 100% sure what that means, but okay. And okay, Tony said if I use a petite, I have to use a needle threader. I use Pat Carson needles, don't need a needle threader, and I'm not a licker either. I fold the other thread. Wow, that's impressive, Tony. She says that she doesn't use a needle threader, and she's not a licker either. She said, I fold the end of the thread and push the fold through the eye. That's impressive. And yeah, they work on all kinds of needles. These are amazing. Pam uses them all the time. She loves them, loves them, loves them. She always has, like, a couple extra just in case she loses them. So, this is the endorsed by Pam Lowrand needle threader. And then also we have someone gifted us these, and they're handy for like when you're at retreats and stuff, and your needle threader goes like that. I will use them. I will use a needle threader for when I'm using like rainbow gallery threads, or if I have, for some reason, a project that like I need more than three strands on. And if I'm, like, God forbid, using Krynic or something like that. You can't get a good lick on a Krynic, you know what I'm saying? So that's so I have one in my stitchy spot. For me, this is, again, not something that is going in my go bag. Steph, I have to share, I just put 45 stitches in a piece the first since I broke my wrist. Doctor said it's okay to hold a hoop. Yay! Congratulations. That's exciting. Back to stitching. Awesome. Okay. So, now the next are 3 things that I particularly enjoy. I find them super handy, and I don't know if everyone knows about them. I think a lot of people do, but still don't know. The first is a Snag Nabbit. Now, I talk about a Snag Nabbit in my Stitch with Steph video that I posted end of November, beginning of December last year. So, it comes in a little plastic sheath so you don't lose it. This is a Snag Nabbit. Now, wow. This is hard to show people. Okay, can you see that side is ridged? I hope so. This side is pointy AF. This is sharper than sharp, people. Do not test it. It's sharp. Sharp. Ridged. Okay. Now, how you use this handy dandy tool. Now, I am obsessive about this thing. I don't use it on every stitch, but, like, I use it a lot. So, when people ask me, how do I get my stitches to lay so well, my first answer is railroading, my second answer is Snag Nabbit. Without question. I love this. So, I do demonstrate it in my Stitch with Steph video, but I'll do a quick demo here. So, you stick pointy, and then that, can you see it? So, stick pointy end in. Then, you pull it down through like that. And what happens when you pull this down through, the ridged edge through, it grabs the fibers from your threads and pulls them all to the back. So, it just helps. If you have a thread that is not behaving, it needs to be Snag Nabbited. It's a word I made up. Franklin says the Snag Nab, it also comes from Clover in different sizes, 2 sizes in a pack, and they're called Snag Repair Needles. So there you go. Oh, I didn't know that, Tony. Tony said, I had a Snag Nabbit in my sewing box for years. I used on snags. You're the one who turned me on to using it for cross-stitch game changer. Yep. So, and no, I do not do it for every stitch, but I do it for a lot of them. If I feel like it's not laying right, then I'll do it. So, I think that the original intention of the Snag Nabbit tool, I think, was for, like, knitting or crocheting or whatever, and you could, like, I've used the Snag Nabbit on a sweater before. When I've had a strand coming through my sweater. Done that before. No, and I don't want to be like, if you do it on every stitch, your stitches look like mine. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I just think that this is really handy. And if you're really struggling, yes, so that is exactly what I do. So Crafty Peacock Stitchery said, I'll do a section and then go through with a Snag Nabbit and fix what needs it. That's exactly what I do. So, like, last night, I did this green section here, and when I did the whole thing, after I was done, then I went through and Snag Nabbited it. What size is the one you predominantly use? And yes, Pam does Snag Nabbit as well. She was the one that turned me on to the Snag Nabbit. And so the size that I use just the Snag Nabbit, this size. The Clover brand ones we don't use. I can't attest to how good they are. But someone said that they've used them and they're the same. So, but the Snag Nabbit itself comes only in one size. And yes, Tony, so she said, it also helps if part of the cut end of thread on the back peeks through to the front. So I use that too. So I use it for that exact purpose. So, no, I do not put the Snag Nabbit in each stitch hole. No. And so it comes in a little plastic sheath like this. It is magnetized. It's metal. So, my Snag Nabbit, typically, literally on my chaise lounge that I have, I literally just stick it into the chaise lounge. But, when, yes, Keepsakes does sell them. But when I am traveling, or on the go, now, I will admit, okay, so this is my extra Snag Nabbit that I'm showing you guys. My other Snag Nabbit is over my stitchy spot. What are the words I'm trying to say? The one that I use every day is actually bent because it fell on the floor and then I think my chair went on it or something. I don't know. It was like a perfect storm of crap that made it bend. But I was like, no! I won't get rid of it. I love it. And so it's bent on this part, like right there. And so, because it's bent, it fits in my needle case. But it will, if you put it on, like, the diagonal of this needle case, it, like, barely hangs out. Ah! All my magnets are coming together. Ooh, don't do that. So, it was still shut for the most part. The little end hangs up, but that's it. But if you have one of those needle cases, it's like a needle slide like Pam has. It's a slider needle case where, like, the lid, instead of closing, Was it? No, Pam is eating her lunch. That's what you hear. Yeah, a needle slide is a... Do you see your needle case? I'll show you a needle slide tomorrow. I'll write it down. Needle slide. Yeah. It's a needle case that has a lid that slides, as opposed to flappy flap. Okay, so, sorry, wow, I missed so many comments. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I have a loose stitch that's just popping up a little and can be tricky to pull it to the back. I think, yep, there you go. So someone said, Floss and Fur said, Clover has a small one in the set, good for higher count fabrics. Excuse me while I write that down. I know somebody's mentioned what Clover calls them. Oh man. They're called Snag Repair Needles. Snag. Look at this hive mind happening. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. All right. So now let's go back. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna get me some of them, the Clover set, so I can have it for my forward account. Ashlyn, I'm never gonna remember to put one in your order, but the shop's closed today, so call the shop tomorrow, to say that, to ask them to add it. I feel like your order went out the door already, though. Like, I feel like your package already got sent. I feel like it was one I took to the post office. Okay, so if you can message me after we're done, after I'm done with the live, and then we can talk about it. Okay. Okay, and they're on Amazon. The Clover set. Okay. No, I'm right-handed. Okay, cool. Alright, and because these little things get lost, so I put them in here. And because this goes in the needle case, this goes in my go bag. Just so you know. Okay. Next. We talked about this in probably one of our first 20 or 25 floss tubes. And this is a seam fix. I know it's backwards to you, but it's called a seam fix. This is, I believe, made by Dritz. Yeah. Pam says she didn't know. Jilly Buster, she asked, did you finish the Lizzie, Kate, Helen, Keller sampler? No, I didn't. This was the model that was stitched by Linda Ebright, aka Lizzie Kate, and it was gifted to me for Christmas last year by my friend Marcy. And, that's the cover model. And so, no, I didn't finish mine. It's a pass the stash situation. It's gonna probably be a giveaway item when we do our big giveaway on floss tube. Okay. And yeah, everything's backwards that's why you asked if I was left-handed. So this is how I hold my pencil, but it looks like it's my left hand because it's backwards too. Anyway, this is a seam fix. Now, we sell them at keepsakes. They come in various different sizes. But this is the standard sides. Okay. So, this is obviously a sewing notion, like that, like, seamstress, whatever. Sewing machine, that kind of thing. Quilters, whatever. So, there's a seam ripper inside of it. Now, I'm going to make a plea with you all. For everyone who's watching this live, everyone who's going to watch us on YouTube, please stop frogging with a seam ripper. Please stop. Please stop. It's very frightening. And I just get so nervous when I see pictures of people with this. Do you see how sharp that is? Do you see how sharp that is? That's crazy. It's like ridged and everything. And yes, believe me, I hate frogging just as much as everyone else does. However, this is not meant to rip out cross-stitch X's. This is meant to rip threads out of sewing. If this tears your linen, you are up a creek, my friends. Up a creek. Up a creek. Because there ain't no way to repair a hole in the fabric, okay? So, stop doing it. Stop doing it. I'm gonna wave it. And I also don't recommend frogging with a Snag Nabbit. It is equally as sharp. Use a tapestry needle. Just do it. Yes. So, anything that is this sharp around your nice linen that is not cheap, I know it's faster, but faster does not always mean better, okay? So, I have no sympathy for you if you cut a hole in your fabric with this. I love you, but I have no sympathy for you. Okay. So, that's a good question. Linda said, what do you use the seam ripper for? I don't use the seam ripper for anything. What I use it for is this. So this is what I use it for. Now this is a rubber tip. So, at the end of the day, do what you want to do. If you want to seam rip your cross stitch, whatever. But, makes me very nervous when I see it, okay? And so Aggie Rachel said, I wouldn't do it either, but Danny the Stitcher has a video on IG on how to repair the torn linen. I don't want to watch a video on how to repair torn linen because I don't want to rip it. Me fixing torn linen would not end well. I'd end up starting the project all over again, then that would be bad. Okay, so there's actually 2 rubber ends. So there's this one that's a little bit finer. And then there's this one. Now, what this is good for is if you need to frog, like a whole section. So, like, let's say that I had to, like, let's pretend, God forbid, that, like, Toto was off and I had to move it and I had to rip it and restitch it. After I frog it, there's going to be little fibers that are left on my fabric that this will remove. So you simply do this motion. You can go back and forth, you can go in a circle, whatever. You can write your name for all I care. But this will pull the extra little fibers that are stuck in your fabric. And They do come in smaller sizes, so for like a smaller area, you can use that. Like they have a travel size seam fix, so that's always an option. And then, I mean, you can use both ends. It doesn't really matter, but this has always been something that we have had and we've used. Yeah, it is a seam, so it's SEAM-FIX, and I do believe it's made by Dritz. Yes. So, I also recommend that if it's like a big swath of an area, and if it's like a high contrasting, so like if it's black thread on white fabric, or even like a dark blue on a ivory fabric, or if it's flip-flopped and it's like white thread on a black fabric, or whatever. I recommend doing this on the front, but then also flipping it over and doing it on the back as well. So, it works both ways. It's a great handy tool. I love it. Between Pam and I, we really have one, because I don't use it very often, and so I just go, can I have the seam fix? And she'll give it to me. So, this probably would go in Pam's go bag, but not in mine, because we just share it. I don't use it often enough to need my own. Then my third other tool yes, so Linda said, I frogged red on white and noticed the red on my fabric. That is exactly what the seam fix will fix for you. Okay. So this might be particular to me. I don't know. But we have animals. We have 2 pets, 2 cats. And there's a lot of cat hair happening around our house. And so I always keep on my chaise lounge with me all the time is a really good pair of tweezers. Now these are, again, sharp tweezers. They're very, very sharp. Very sharp. This pair I actually received in a So Much to Love Bag of the Month Club, and I love them. I did have another pair of tweezers that I had with my stuff. But these are super sharp, and they really pull those pesky little cat hairs that get stitched into a piece. So, and yes, of course they're red polka dots. So I love this. I also, like, if you have a slub in your linen, you can easily, like, sometimes there's extra fibers of your fabric that come out of it, like Einstein's hair or whatever. And so I use my tweezers all the time. Am I ever going to get a project that's cat hair free? No, I'm not. But I hate when I can see it, and so I will pull it out. So, I'm not saying you need to get these tweezers. To be honest, I don't even know what brand these are. I would have to ask Karen, but, So Much to Love. But I just highly recommend a pair of tweezers in your stuff, so you can, especially if you have pets, and this is something that definitely goes in my go bag. That's for sure. Goes with me everywhere. Okay. Linda asked a question, what is a slub? So, I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this the best, but basically, so when a linen is woven, when the linen itself is woven, a slub is basically a linen imperfection. So it's what makes it a linen versus an even weave, right? So there are, okay, so let me see. Okay. So, can you see right here? See how that line is a little bit bigger? That would be constituted as a slub. For sure. And you can kind of see some other places. It doesn't really... I mean, there are some pieces that I've had that it, like, will... You know, if you have to stitch over a slub, it will alter the size of your X, right? So, but you just make it work, and it is what it is. You know, it's consistent enough that there's... I don't know, it doesn't bother me. It's just part of what linen is. So, you know, some people are like, I hate slubs so much. And you know, there are people that have put videos out on, like, how to get rid of slubs and whatever. So, I don't know a linen that doesn't have slubs. It is what it is. So, yeah. And yeah, if you poke around with your needle enough, you can figure out where the holes are supposed to be. So, it's really not too terribly bad. So that hopefully answers your question. Okay, you guys. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 6 left. 6 items left. Exciting times. So, and it is 3:14, which means that it is going to cut me off here shortly. So, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you learned something. I hope this wasn't a waste of your entire hour of time. I love you all so much. And we'll see if we can get the rest of the items in tomorrow. Because there's no staying with Steph on Saturday. Saturday. If I have to do a stay, I'm working on Saturday, is what I'm saying. So if I did a stay home with Steph on Saturday, it wouldn't be until like 6 or 7. So, I would like to get through all of these items tomorrow so I can, take Saturday off. So, I love you all very, very much. Have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Stay safe out there. Listen to your government officials. And also listen to yourself. So, make choices that are the best for you. And what you're comfortable with. Just remember that. So, happy stitching. I'm going to go run around, do errands, mow the rest of the lawn, do this, do that. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you all later. If you missed anything, don't forget, it'll be on YouTube. So, look for that here shortly. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.